Where is this Apple event?
Welcome to the All Future Podcast, where we talk all things Apple, tech, humanoid robots, AI, and more throughout the week. Today we're talking about Apple, and we're joined by Andrew in the studio.
Hello. Yeah.
Welcome.
I get to be here. It's awesome.
I'm excited, and we're talking Apple stuff. So if you're enjoying these videos, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing. First up, iPhone 17 Pro case has leaked, and also the, I think, normal 17 case has leaked.
We have some
in
good
some
leaks.
sense. We have leaks of what could be coming from Apple, and in some sense, it's a big redesign that we're getting from them.
I wouldn't call it a big redesign, but it's at least a redesign.
I mean, when you consider the percentage that has been redesigned over the last 10 years on this phone compared to this, it's probably a higher percentage. So that's your big that's the big redesign. But yeah, it's a pretty slight redesign. But it seems that the camera bump is going to go, instead of in a corner, that's honestly, it's a corner, but it's more than half of the phone at this point, width-wise. Instead of that, we're going to be getting, it goes all the way across. And people aren't really sure if this has much purpose or if it's just a new design and something that maybe it sits flat instead of has that little wobble to it.
I don't care if it has purpose. I do not want the phone to look the same as the last generation, period. I have made this, it would be cool if it had purpose. It seems like there's some physics involved in having the cameras in a triangle, and that's why they're not going away from that for some reason.
I understand the ones in line are for spatial, so they need that. But the third one, I don't know, I guess it's just, they're probably just used to you zoom through each lens, and they're close enough together.
I think the dumbest thing they've ever done for themselves is make it so another person next to you who's eating their lunch, you don't know that they have the newest iPhone that costs the most money. There's so much social pressure to have the latest and greatest thing. And this is my marketing brain talking. It's not my be nice to people and whatever. We're trying to sell the top tier iPhones to people, right? You need to make people jealous of other people that they have the latest and greatest thing. And if you put the exact same design out in a different color, design, not internals or those sorts of things, or a camera button. You can't see a camera button, You can't see that those things are people are using them or something like that. Add something big and spectacular that differentiates it from your previous generation. Car manufacturers know this. They know every couple generations that they come out with a completely new looking thing, or it has to look slightly different or get some kind of refresh going. This has just been the same old thing for almost 4 generations now. And I'm excited that they're just doing something and trying something, so that if someone, even with the case, right now, I have the Desert, whatever. But because I have this case, you have no idea which phone this is, So a color doesn't help differentiate either. Everyone puts a case on their phone.
Yeah,
are you crazy caseless? Oh, you do have a case.
No, I have a case right now. Yeah, but I used it caseless yesterday. It's
crazy.
It's quite a joy to use it without a case, honestly. And the latest one's rounder. The edges are rounder than the previous one that I had, which I guess was 14. I went from 14 to 16.
Me too.
But yeah, I'm with you, because people don't track what the colors are either. I couldn't tell you what the colors of the last one were versus this one.
Yeah, not anymore. I used to be able to when they came out with the blue one for the first, because they used to only have white, black, and space, whatever, or rose gold, and now we had real colors for the first time. Okay, you have the blue one, you have the green one, and now it's okay, I don't know, gold.
And the Pro ones are always they're kind of that color, but they're kind of this basic Pro grayish color with that color added to it. So yeah, I'm with you. That's not a great way to track it, but this hopefully will be something that distinguishes this new phone. And then maybe there's some feature that comes along with that entire back thing being a bar. So the first case that leaked is the Pro phone with the 3 lenses, and then all the way on the other side is the flash, and then I guess it would probably be the LiDAR sensor is that other thing. And it looks like it's literally just taking that and expanding it across the phone. The 17 Air has reportedly leaked, and if this is correct, it seems like it has 2 lenses. And one thing I will note about that bar, though, is that the lenses are embedded within it. It's not like currently we have a camera bump, and then we have lenses on top of that bump. This looks to be that the entire bump is flat, which is a nice change.
Interesting, yeah. That'll be cool. Again, I want to know that I have the new iPhone. I think people think the danger in this is that they'll look too much like Galaxies, because Galaxies either have a line vertically or horizontally, and so you want to keep your branding in that sense, but your branding has to come from something else. It has to come from something else. Make a bigger Apple logo on it if you need to, or whatever, or make your camera bump recognizable in some kind of different way. You guys are designers. You could do this. I'm so hard on designers because I'm such a designer at heart, and so you guys work at the best company in the world. You have Steve Jobs take all his designs from Braun and some of these very awesome companies that used to make these like kitchen appliances back in the day that were just gorgeous. And so you have to take those things and adapt them and make them so they stand out on their own. And if you take a swing and a miss, it is what it is, and you might hurt. But no company is taking any risks in the middle of this. And I guess it doesn't matter because people have been buying the iPhone. But, now people like us are having conversations. Do we upgrade this year? Do we not upgrade this year? Is it going to be a good thing? Is it not going to be a good thing? But the 17 also looks like a good real upgrade too.
And we're not entirely sure what the configuration will be there because the rumors leading up to this have been one single camera in the rear, and then you'll be able to do a lot with that single lens. But this has multiple in this render, but we don't know if that's just someone speculating, making their own render.
There is the Air too. So there's the 17 Air that has the single camera lens, and that might be mixed up in the middle of these things.
Well, I think that's what this one is supposed to be, that we're seeing this pink render of. But it could, you're right, it could be mixed up all in.
Yeah. We'll see what happens in the middle of this. But we got a ton of other Apple leaks. Let's see what else is going on.
So the first one is the one that is going to make us upset, and that is reports that very soon Apple's going to update the Apple Vision Pro with Apple Intelligence support by way of releasing a slight refresh that just adds an M5 chip. I'm assuming prices will stay the same. They're not changing strategy here, but they're trying to give it Apple Intelligence support and make that a big part of what actually sells this product, as opposed to no Apple Intelligence support up to this point. And as early adopters of the Apple Vision, that's of course very frustrating. And I think it's more than anything a sign that Apple had no idea Apple Intelligence was going to have to be important for them.
Yeah, definitely. It's super weird. I don't like this, obviously, because we both bought Apple Visions and are getting burned by this. I don't think I'm going to buy another one. And I don't think it's going to be a good sales pitch for it, because if Apple Intelligence is out, everything that you can do on that device in Apple Vision with your voice, you're going to be able to do on your computer with your voice.
Yeah.
You don't need the Apple Vision for that either. Unless they really just to bring Apple Intelligence to Apple Vision and it becomes more of a productivity tool that way. But like something that I'd want to do, or that they showcased or whatever, what time is my flight landing right now? And it has to go into your email and read your email and tell you what it is, or what time is my mom's flight landing? So now it has to have all this context to who your mom is and all these sorts of things, right? Why wouldn't you be able to do that on your phone or your Mac already? Like, why would you have to buy an Apple Vision for this? This is not a new selling point for this thing.
Yeah, and already Apple Intelligence doesn't seem to be a huge selling point for a lot of people. Even though the phone is still selling, it doesn't seem like those features are that great yet, still, months after those phones have been out. So I can't imagine them showing us something that's actually coming soon that necessitates the purchase of this upgraded Apple Vision, especially at $3,500 to start.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I mean, I see a huge less... I don't think VR is even as big right now. I think VR was bigger a year ago when that came out, and it sort of peaked because everyone saw the top. Like, you can't keep going into VR. It has its limit here. And so now they go, okay, well, we want the glasses, but the glasses are 5 years off of technologically being available yet. And so now we're in this VR lull where it's like, okay, the Apple Vision is here. Everyone realized they don't want a face on their computer on their face.
Yeah.
And to be in it all day. And please, commenters, we know we have our 10 regulars who are like, I wear it every single day and I trade my stock options on it and it's great. I'm not talking about you. I would say the majority of people who got an Apple Vision, it's, they use it for movie watching or something like that. I haven't touched it since I've been home. I haven't touched it when I had my break for 2 months when I got home before. it sits on my nightstand too. I like physically look at it. I've never been more close to selling it, even at whatever crazy loss it would be now than I have now, because I'm really just not using it for stuff, and they're not really making content for it.
Yeah, they are, but it's a very slow rollout.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've watched some of it, and it's really impressive and really good. I've watched actually a lot of it. I sat down and watched a bunch of it a
Did
couple
you watch
weeks
the
ago.
elephant documentary?
No, not yet.
Oh, come on.
Oh wait, no, yeah, it blows with the trunk, kind of at you.
Or they're at the place where the elephants. They take the elephant orphans. Mm-hmm. So they take these orphan elephants and they come, and then after a certain amount of time, they leave and go on to be like adults themselves. But then they'll come back like every so often and bring other orphaned elephants because they know that they'll take them in. And it's wild. You have to watch it.
Okay,
if you
I'll
haven't.
watch it. I've seen the trailer, I guess, because it sounds familiar, and I remember viewing it in that environment, but I don't remember that storyline.
It would be the closest thing to make me cry in the Apple Vision that has ever happened.
Yeah.
But I think if I watched it as a documentary too, I'd feel like really into it. But both those things together were an awesome experience.
Yeah, so there's a couple things planned here in addition to that refresh. First is a new spatial content app, which I'm excited for because spatial video is amazing in the Apple Vision. When you take it like on your phone or on the Apple Vision and watch it back, honestly, most of my spatial videos are just of my cat. But in a couple years, I'm going to love that or whatever, But I know people are taking great spatial content, and there's been some apps that are out there where people take like videos at concerts and you watch it and it's really cool and really good, but there's really no great way to share spatial stuff. And Apple recently added spatial abilities with Final Cut Pro, so you can edit spatial video in there and then get it to the Apple Vision. But still, it's kind of like if I want to distribute this, I have to like send it via iMessage to a friend who has an Apple Vision. I think that's kind of the main
or use one of those like weird social media apps that built into Apple Vision only, and then there's like 6 people posting on it.
So I'm excited to see that Apple might do their own version of that here, and hopefully there's ends up being some sort of categories, and we see not just these giant corporations releasing Apple content, but other people can, like I could make some sort of short film in spatial and have it on there, and people
that
can
could be really cool. Yeah.
There's also apparently going to be a revamped guest mode in Vision OS 2.4, which I think it's a funny thing that it's like so long after the release, and a revamped guest mode is like a talking point, but it's true. It hasn't been great. It's still like, oh, check this out, and it's like a 5-minute setup process. I'm exaggerating a little, but it's like a long setup process, and then oftentimes it would be confusing, like, oh, you can't access that app. Let me go change the settings, and it's kind of like not ideal, so I'm assuming that's optimizing this.
Yeah, where you could just put a quest on someone else's face and then they're in it in 2 seconds, Even like things like lenses, like if you had glasses on and you needed to use the Apple with the Zeiss glasses, you can't have someone else use it. So there's a lot of things not going for,
Yeah, sharing it is definitely not the easiest.
And even us, 2 people who have Apple Visions, like there's not a lot that you can do with each other with 2 Apple Visions. Like you can't even play a game together or like watch a movie together. That seems ridiculous that like after a year of having this thing, like can we just watch something together? Is that something that exists on the Apple Vision?
It might. I haven't tried it because I've done the thing where you can do a FaceTime call with someone, and on your Apple TV, you can click to open a show and it will sync it with your FaceTime call with that person. And like one person's remote pauses it for both of you. You're in sync and everything. But you both have to have the content owned or stream. You have to have the subscription to like Apple TV Plus. So I wouldn't be surprised if you could do that via FaceTime and then like watching something you both own on the Apple Vision. But I haven't tried that. That seems like a no-brainer though.
Yeah, that it should exist.
Yeah. It definitely should exist, and especially for all of their cool immersive content.
Anyways, I think this is a response to Samsung. We have the new Samsung XR coming out. It has Gemini built in. We've seen, demos of this thing where people are using it and they enjoy using AI. So I think Apple feels pressured to add AI to Apple Vision. And then I don't know why they wouldn't just add it to the current gen. I think that's still up for debate. Like if they're going to let people do that, or if they're going to let old owners like, okay, let me pay $500 and get the new chip in, and
Yeah.
I send it into the Genius Bar or something like that. But
I mean, I'd probably do that if they're actually giving us good features with it.
yeah, or just something to try or whatever. You
Yeah,
know?
because it should be able to do most of it, right? Like, what is it possibly going to do? But yeah, it's a very clear example, though, that they released their flagship product and then it didn't have Apple Vision or Apple Intelligence support. It shows us so clearly that they didn't really know this was going to
Yeah,
be such a
definitely.
big deal.
No one did. One person did. Their name is NVIDIA, and they invested heavily in, being the people who sold the picks in the middle of the AI revolution. And here we are. But we'll be getting that hopefully sometime coming soon.
Yeah, it seems like it'll probably, I would guess that's just a press release announcement. And I'm very curious to see what kind of features they can actually deliver with Apple Intelligence. I'm guessing like some visual intelligence things, like what you can do with the Meta Ray-Bans and stuff, but hopefully it's actually AR. But I don't know. We'll see if they give us a use case for why
Maybe
we need to get it.
Genmoji. You know,
Yeah.
really, I've needed Genmoji on my Apple
That
Vision.
is worth selling this at a $1,500 loss and buying the new version. But on the complete opposite side of expensive products is affordable products. And last week was supposed to be the Apple SE or the iPhone SE4 announcement. And then I think Tim Cook teased that there's an event happening this week. And now the event is on, I believe, and that's supposed to be what's getting announced. By the time this podcast releases,
Yeah, probably.
it might already be out.
We saw some cameras at the Apple campus. We thought it was coming last week. Everything told us it was coming last week, and they delayed for some reason. We don't know if they delayed. So we're supposed to have the new beta. Do you have the new beta iOS right now? Some people do and some people don't. I don't have it yet. But 18.4 is supposed to be available pretty soon, but they're delaying the launch
No, I don't
because
have
they
it.
were having software bugs. And this is supposed to be the real Siri update. And this might be why the delay of this event is happening. We don't know exactly why. And we're supposed to get the iPhone SE4. I've also seen one weird mixed message that said we might see the it go back to 16E, which was incredibly. There was a rumor that it was going to be called the iPhone 16E. That kind of got wrapped up into everything, and now it's like resurfacing again.
Yeah.
That it might be called the 16E for branding consistency. But we'll see what happens. We really don't know. This has been one of the most mixed bag rumors with this phone.
Yeah.
It's supposed to come in at a price tag around $499, which will be incredible and have most of the features of the iPhone 16. And we'll see what happens. I think this is also single camera, just cheaper. The thing that you're supposed to give to your mom or something like that. I think there'll be a great upgrade phone for everyone who has never owned an iPhone and wants to own an iPhone for the first time. This will be the perfect phone for them. So
Yeah.
I think Apple made a great decision with a budget phone, especially in the middle of all this inflation and stuff like that. I think this is going to be a great seller. I'd recommend this to anyone.
Yeah, so it seems that updated Siri might be postponed, but we'll see if they release this with it and it comes at the same time, at least in beta, or if that actually gets delayed. Disappointing to see more delays on that advanced Siri that they talked about months ago at this point and was like a selling point for their latest phone. But it is what it is. And we'll see, because on the other side of things, there's rumors that, once again, the rumors are back that Apple is talking with glass suppliers for their foldable phone.
I do not get this. And my best barometer of this, so if you don't know, me and Ryan are both touring drummers that love technology. And so I actually get to see people. I get to see their phones all the time because I take selfies all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so I literally get this demo of, whatever my age group is. So our band's demo is to let's say 45 to 65. I play rock and roll music. It's for old people, And so I get to see what phones they have. And it's all over the map. It's not what you'd think it'd be. It's not like all Androids or all iPhones or something like that. It's incredibly diverse. And I see some of these folding phones come out of a lady's bag or something like that that's in her 60s. And I'm like, how did you even hear about this or whatever? And I think they just remember the era of the Razor or whatever still that we still remember. And they go oh, that's cute. Or that'll fit in my
folds,
purse better. And I just want that one. I don't think the landscape for phones has been as diverse as it has been in the last however many years. The first time I saw a dual folding phone was taking a selfie with someone at a rock and roll concert. So again, like people have very different tastes with these things, and I think we just are seeing these things splinter into like different designs. And it's so anti-Apple for that to be happening, but they're starting to cave into that thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the idea of everyone just using the same stuff, but I think, it swings the other way, and, people want choice after a while. So
Yeah.
that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people recently with foldable phones, and it is kind of cool when they open it and then they're showing you photos on a big thing that then fits back in their pocket. So maybe they'll convince us and have some kind of thing. But apparently ultra thin glass is basically the supplier that is this rumor is coming from, because they need that specifically to be ultra thin, and so that the rest of it can be a little thicker and durable. And this is apparently coming in the second half of 2026. So like a year and a half from now, we may see foldable iPhones. That's at least the supply chain rumor right now.
Yeah, and we've been hearing this over and over and over again. Patents and supply things, and as far as we know right now, they're still in the testing phase.
Yeah.
We've heard that it's been canceled in the past and pushed because they couldn't get what they wanted out of it. So who knows when this thing is going to come out? We might all have humanoid robots and brain chips by that point, because
Honestly,
we're not going to need phones.
it will just never come to be. But in the meantime, they have their services as well, including Apple TV Plus, which right now is, I think, probably getting a surge in viewership because Severance is back with season 2. Very
I have
popular
not
show.
watched any episodes yet. Is it good?
It's good, yeah. It's definitely worth watching.
Nice.
But more people are going to be able to watch it soon because they're bringing Apple TV Plus to Android devices.
Oh, nice. I didn't even know that it wasn't on Android devices.
I honestly didn't either, because it's on things like when you get a TV that's like Samsung or LG and they have their own built-in system, you'll have an Apple TV Plus app within it. So I'm surprised it wasn't on Android devices before, but it seems like it's just expanding who can view it for everyone that uses mobile for their viewing of online content.
I was never sure why Apple went this way to begin with, or why any company invested into streaming. I can understand why someone like an Amazon invested into streaming to try to add more value to their Prime membership, but like, I don't know that it's easy to get someone to pay a monthly subscription and then pay the bills for all these like incredibly crazy expensive shows. And they threw a ton of money at it with their big sci-fi shows like Silo and like all those sorts of things. And, to the little stuff like the Peanuts or whatever, like all those things cost money. So to make a full streaming setup and to think that you're just going to like collect money on the subscription service and that it's going to be profitable, which we've heard that it's not. They had to cut back on it a lot. So we'll see what happens, but
yeah, it's kind of the same as Apple Music coming to Android devices. Eventually, it's like, okay, this isn't an exclusive thing anymore because it needs to be a full-fledged service that anyone can have.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing that this is happening. Like, if you don't know this, characters in these shows use Apple products. So if you watch something like Shrinking, that's like a sitcom kind of. They're using Apple products in the thing, and it's just like anything else. Like it's any influencer using a product, you see them using the iPhone, they're going to be interested in it in some regard, subconsciously or whatever, even if they don't think they are. So it's like why they do car placements in Transformers movies or like James Bond movies or things like that. They give them those cars for free because they know it's one of the best commercials that they could possibly have.
Yeah, absolutely. So here, Apple gets to just run their own commercials.
Yeah,
It is kind of funny at times watching a show like, I think there's some episodes of Ted Lasso where you're like, all right, the way that they face the camera with their device, or the way the Apple it pans up from the iMac to the character or whatever, and you're like, okay, come on. But that's kind of a story as old as time, product placement. So, but on the other side of things, speaking of advertising, Apple Maps is going to be getting ads soon.
This isn't 100% confirmed, but it's just. With people like buying less devices and all these sorts of things, Apple has to go, okay, well, like this is always on the table. Google has ads on their Maps platforms. That's how they pay for that. So can we just start putting ads in our Maps platforms? I don't care. I even use things like Yelp and things like that when I'm looking for a restaurant or somewhere to be. I don't think it adds anything crazy to my life. And I just am curious as to, look, everyone has this like view of Apple like they're a nice company just because they don't like deal in ads. So are they going to be dealing in ads themselves and targeting you with your own personal data, which is like very against Apple's brand? Or are they going to get a third party company to come in there and do the ads for them like Google? That's
Yeah.
a real question there.
Yeah. And then I think for Maps, this is more like sponsored results type of thing. Yeah. It's not like navigate to destination after 30-second ad.
Yeah.
It's like you search for something and you see your first result is a restaurant nearby with good reviews and it says ad. So you know that they served you that one first because someone paid to give you that.
Yeah, exactly. And we see this on Google Maps already all the time. So like it's not something we're not used to. And then it's pretty easy to just, click out of it or, you ignore it. But it's a huge revenue stream for Apple. So they can't ignore it because it's probably like billions of dollars just left on the table for them.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to plus up your stock 30% a year every year, you got to find every penny from somewhere,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot, but Apple's always working and looking for different ways to get revenue. We have some on the hardware side. They're apparently hoping to sell some more Apple Visions soon and then maybe give us foldable phones. But the first thing up, probably already out at this point, is the new iPhone SE4 or 16e, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, it should be great. They're not getting any money from me, though, for that Apple Vision. I'll tell you that right now.
Same for me.